Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Well, in Jamaica, yesterday there were reportedly 21,679 confirmed positive COVID 19 cases, with 12,931 recoveries and 399 deaths. Also, there's a reported surge in St. Elizabeth, which has the health authorities concerned. And now the question of whether to lock down the country and mandate working from home have once again come to the fore. To discuss these and other related questions and issues, we have online Mrs. Helene Davis White, President of Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and Mr. Dennis Chung, financial analyst and commentator. Good morning to you both.
Hi, morning.
Morning.
Right, good to have you with us this morning. Really appreciate your coming on. Well, before you share your respective thoughts on the topic, could you just tell us what is your understanding of a national shutdown and what would that really entail? Beginning with you, Mrs. Davis White.
Well, the national shutdown, I think, would have been similar to what was done early in the pandemic, where based on the work from home order, persons were told to work from home if they could work from home. And in terms of businesses, most of them remained closed as long as they had their businesses were such that they had to have human interaction with between the public and members of the business as well. In other countries, a national lockdown can be more stringent, where basically everything shuts down for a defined period of time, and so business as well as commerce, entertainment, everything shuts down, and people are basically told to stay home. We would have had some elements of shutdowns in various communities, as was done in Portmore and in St. Thomas for a particular period of time. But if we were to go to the route of a national shutdown, I'm thinking that it would be something that would be saying to Jamaicans, stay home, even if it is that and that you should only be going out for emergencies.
So did we, Mrs. Davis White, really have a national lockdown or shutdown last year?
No, because as I'm saying, it did not extend to everybody staying home.
Right.
What you had was that some businesses, the manufacturing sector, by and large, was not shut down when we had in that early stage of the pandemic. But as I said, businesses that had where you had interaction between the public and the members of the business, such as those that had to do, like your hairdressers, restaurants, those would have had to close at that time.
Right. Your take on that, Mr. Chung?
Yeah, no, I agree with Helene. I mean, that is basically what it is. The shutdown would be, for nationally, would be like what happened in St. Catherine over, I think it was a 6-week period. So that would be what a national shutdown is, that the only thing that you're allowed to do is have essential services on the road, and also you go out at prescribed times to access food and that sort of thing. So that's what it would be.
Yes. And when we compare with which countries in essence had shut down, as far as you know, Mr. Chung? Really.
But you had countries over Europe like France, Spain, that had a shutdown.
Britain has one now.
Yeah. You didn't have a national shutdown in the US, but places like New York, for example, they had a shutdown, which basically New York is like Jamaica. or even bigger. So those are some of the countries that would have had it. I think it was mainly in Europe and like the US in some states that had that sort of national shutdown.
Yeah. Your thoughts then, Mrs. Davis White, on the question: should Jamaica be shut down and mandated to work from home in light of the recent surge in cases here?
I believe that we should be looking at that as an option now. I mean, the numbers to me are frightening. And especially when you take into account that, yes, we are testing more persons, but we're not testing probably enough, as many of us believe. The view is that if you were able to do more testing, the numbers would even be greater. So that is saying to us that nearly, and I think the CMO actually said that to us, assume that every next person has the virus at this point in time. And with that kind of a situation, if we don't do something to contain the spread now, I don't know how our health sector is going to be able to cope. Already I heard on the news this morning that the University Hospital is saying to doctors, before you refer persons here, make sure you contact us because we cannot guarantee a bed. Most of the larger hospitals are saying that right now, and much less the smaller ones. And so that being the case, what we are having is not just people with coronavirus, but people with other illnesses are affected because now they have to now be using up other beds to be able to deal with coronavirus patients. It's either that or turn back coronavirus patients. I mean, it is getting to immense proportions now, and I think that we have to do something to contain the spread right now. It cannot be that we are out there almost as if everything is normal when the situation is as dire as it is now.
Mr. Chung, your take on that question?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think so. I think a national shutdown is not practical. We're a different society from other places like Europe and the US. If you think about it, the national shutdown would have greater negative impact than positive.
Also.
So, well, you're going to shut down and you already have a positivity rate of 30%, right? So I expect, I agree with what the CMO says, that every other person has it. If it's about 50% of the people have it, you have a situation where most of your population lived in cramped spaces, right? Most of your population have to work in the day in order to eat at night, or a significant part of your population. Most of your population takes public transportation, right, and has to go out for food, right? If you have a national shutdown, the biggest impact you're going to have is driving up unemployment, right? And if you have a situation where more and more people are unemployed, then the threat of the virus is minimized compared to the other realities that they're going to face, like hunger, for them and their children. Right?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chung, could you just hold that thought, please? We're going to take a break and be right back.
The Tamai Phoenix Vision Healthcare, your eye center, 65 Main Street in Tans Bay and Champion Plaza, Falmouth, is 7:15.
Digicel. Some things in life are better together, like Kingston and dancehall, like Sundays and streaming football, like secret texts between best friends, like video chats with your granny on weekends, like a road trip and playing songs on load.
At Digicel, we're bringing together all the experiences you love, from latest shows, sports, music, radio, breaking news to HD video chats, cloud storage, and more. Jamaica's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
JN Bank. Sons of the Father Men's Movement presents Elders at the Gate Virtual Global Summit, February 25 to 27. Calling the men, repositioning the elders, and positioning the next generation. 3 days of life-transforming, action-packed deliveries from world-renowned speakers, Dr. Cindy Trimmer, Bishop Henry Fernandez, Dr. Jackie McCollum, and Caribbean speakers, and summit host, Pastor Reverend Shirley Chung. Register now online. Visit spiropen.com/Elders at the Gate, at Sons of the Father on Instagram, or Sons of the Father Facebook page. Call us at 876-424-2488 or 876-533-3556.
COVID-19 is still here. Always wear your mask correctly while in public places, covering your nose and mouth at all times. Masks should never be worn over the head, under your chin, below your nose, or hanging from your ears. Recovery from COVID-19 can take up to 60 days or more. The mask or the ventilator? You choose. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are discussing the whole matter of Jamaica being shut down, mandated to work from home in light of the recent COVID surge. Should that be? And we have online Mrs. Helen Davis White, President of Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and Mr. Dennis Chung, financial analyst and commentator. Mr. Chung, before the break, you were telling us why you oppose a shutdown at this time.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's not practical. I mean, someone said to me the other day that many people in the inner city, where social distancing for them is being outside of their home because so many people share a room, right? So many people share a bed, and a lot of them take turns sleeping. So the question for us, right, is, are we prepared if we have a national shutdown, right? Which is not going to make any much difference in terms of the virus spread. Because if you assume that 50% of the people have it, then it's already out there, right? And people are going to have it. I mean, we've seen places that have shut down much earlier that the virus comes back with a vengeance, right? Because that is not the way to deal with it. So are we prepared?
Do anything to curtail that, Mr. Chung?
It might curtail it from a spread of 3 persons for each person infected to about 2 persons or 1.5 persons. Eventually, it means that everyone will eventually get it, right? The only cure for this thing is a vaccine or taking care of yourself, right? To ensure that if you get it, you're more asymptomatic or little symptoms, right? So the question we have to ask ourselves if we want a national shutdown, are we prepared to deal with a runaway exchange rate? Yesterday, the dollar traded at over 152. You know what effect that is on people? Because most of what we consume is imported. Are we prepared to deal with children of the lower income groups being out of school for much longer? Are we prepared for unemployment rates to reach up to 20%? Are we prepared to have crime escalate in the country? And are we prepared for government not to be able to provide the essential services like garbage collection and security? If we are prepared to do all of that, fine, we can shut down. But I don't think that we are in that situation where the U.S. can shut down because Joe Biden is talking about giving people an extra $1,400. We can't give anybody anything. We are a hand-to-mouth country. So what we need to do is enforce and do some PR around personal responsibility. That is what we need to do, and build out hospital capacity. Last year, the Ministry of Health said that 1.5 million people are going to get the virus. They said that from last year, but they didn't build out the hospital capacity to handle their own projections. Those are the things. So we can't shift the focus from where the real strategy needs to be.
Interesting. Mrs. Davis White, your response to what Mr. Chung just said?
Well, a lot of what Dennis says is correct. And in handling any kind of crisis like this, it's about risk acceptance. because any action that you take has some amount of risk attached to it. And so, what would have to be done is to determine exactly what are those risks and how can we treat with them, and some of it has to be that you take a decision that you're going to actually take that risk because the greater good at the end of the day is what you want. So that I think is what we would have to look at. I agree that in a lot of instances, there are many Jamaicans who are unable to carry out some of the protocols, and that is one of the reasons why it is being said that people are flouting the social distancing rules because they cannot social distance and so on. But the truth of the matter is that if we don't, we're going to find, because you see, it is a virus that when you catch it, death is something that one of the risks that's attached to it. So we have to determine, because you're hearing now 7 people dying, 8 people dying, and that is the aspect that is of concern as well. So what I think is that we have, I think a lot of Jamaicans have adopted an approach now that they have become complacent, and they have become complacent because the stringent rules were lifted, and then he spoke about the kind of society that we are. Unfortunately, we are a society that these things have to be enforced and entrenched. If they are not, people don't take them seriously. So there's a lot of hue and cry about lifting it here and lifting it there, opening up here and opening up there. But the records show that when you do it, people go overboard, and this is why we are where we are now. And so I'm saying, unfortunately, our people seem to have to be policed. So yes, I agree with Dennis. You have to look at what are going to be the impacts. Is it going to deliver the kind of results that we would want? And my thing is that it can contain. It will not eradicate, but it can contain the spread. And if we don't contain the spread, we are going to be seeing the results in our health sector. Building out hospital capacity is not as easy as it sounds. So we heard about the field hospitals. If the rate of spread continues, we're going to need probably 6 field hospitals, because that is what is the result of the spread. So it is placing an enormous burden on our health sector and our health professionals. I represent health professionals that will tell you that they are dead beat. They cannot go any further, and they now are also they have been exposed, and many of them are reporting positive, and health departments have to be closing because of the spread. So we have to be, I think we have to be recognizing what this virus really is, and be able to deal with it until we can get the vaccine here. And if we don't, even if when the vaccine comes, because we have persons who are opposed to taking the vaccine. I mean, by my count, amongst our membership, we have to be encouraging them to take the vaccine. So many of them are opposed to taking it. So even when the vaccine comes, you are not going to have the kind of immediate effect that you would want either. So we have to do something in the meantime. We have to, I think, deal with the work from home order as a first start, even before you go to total lockdown.
So you're still saying shutdown, Mrs. Davis White?
I am still believing that is something that can be done.
For how long?
That should be considered. My thinking is that if we're talking about the period of the 2-week period, even for 2 weeks, it would be something that at least allows us to catch our breath and be able to move forward And
Chung is
I
saying
believe
the economy will perhaps crumble in that time, or be more greatly affected even more.
it will be greatly affected. But as Dennis says, it's really a choice now that we have. Is well, one of my members said it's either you die from the virus or you die from starvation. That's it, and you have to decide which choice you would make. But the thing is, the virus is something that is not only me as an individual is affected. I'm affecting several other persons, and that is where the problem comes. Because if I go out on the road, I can work from home. Thankfully, a lot of persons are not able to work from home based on the work that they do. So they have to be out there. If they have to be out there and they have to be taking public transportation, they are at extreme risk having to take public transportation. This is why I'm saying that a lockdown may be something that we should be considering now. Having done that, then we can talk about the work from home order, because at least you'd have contained it for a period of time, and persons would then be put back into a mold to recognize that, hey, this is a serious thing. A lot of persons out there are not taking it seriously anymore.
Let me get back in, Mr. Chung. Mr. Chung, are there any other alternatives, would you say?
Yeah, I think
anything
so.
we could try? I mean, I don't.
You see, I can work from home too, but I think it is morally wrong. It is unethical to tell people you cannot work, but I can't give you money to eat. And that is my problem. It is unethical to look at someone who has 5 children, who has to go out and work, and say to them, you don't eat for the next 2 weeks. I can eat because I can work from home. But in order to save all of us, you have to suffer and your children have to suffer. And that's my problem with it, right? And that is why I say that we need to focus our energies on the good of everyone, not just those who can afford to work from home, right?
But what about a 2 weeks thing, Mr. Chung? I'm sorry. What about a 2 weeks thing? Yes, as Mrs. Davis White suggested.
Yeah, 2 weeks is going to destroy the economy, because when the curfew was announced that it moved from 10 to 8 the other day, a small business person said to me, listen, I can't plan with this uncertainty. I'm going to have to send home my workers until everything is settled, because I'm already struggling, right? And that is the issue that we face, because even if I agree with a work from home order, right, where you can, but a lot of people, the environment not conducive to working from home.
Right.
So at my office, for example, we allow everyone to work from home if they want, but some people say, listen, I can't. My environment, right, the amount of people that live there, the children are at home, I can't work, right? So,
2 weeks, Mr. Chung, 2 weeks.
Yeah, because remember, remember, Dylan, that.
Yes.
No, yeah, but remember, Dylan, we're not just talking about 2 weeks, We're talking about 2 weeks at the back end of a lot of months of suffering for our business already. Right? So if it was 2 weeks at the start, fine. But we're talking about 2 weeks at a point where businesses are already late on their loan payment. They can't make salary. And then you push these other 2 weeks on them. And what they're saying, what they're saying is that 2 weeks now, then what happens after the 2 weeks? Businesses plan with predictability. And that is the issue that we face. So my point is this. We have to recognize that, and as I said, the virus is so much out there now that I don't think that you're going to get much gain from a 2 week lockdown.
Sorry, Mr. Chung, we have to leave it at that. We're totally out of time. I want to thank you both, Mrs. Davis White and Mr. Chung, for joining us in having an interesting and insightful discussion. Have a productive day.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
JN Bank Live Online Banking is your quick and easy banking that's safe and secure. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank will help you find a way. The time is
7:30 and a half.
Shake and go with true shake. Shake and go. Grab a true shake and go. When me have to put in the work, but I'm moving slow. Grab a true shake and go. School time and not joke time.
have to study hard, brain full time. Grab a two shake and go. When we up in the gym, we have to stay healthy and fit. Grab a two shake and go. Shake and go with True Shake. Packed with 9 grams of protein, 24 key vitamins and minerals to keep you going. Grab a two shake and go.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Now more than ever, Protex reminds you to wash your hands. A 40-second hand wash with soap could help prevent COVID-19. Look for Protex at your nearest store.
We're working on a brighter day, you don't have to fret. You know your family secure, you don't need no stress. It's like you run a 5K, set the pace, win the race, celebrate, and you still never bust no sweat. We see we brother and we sister, this is how we heal them. Easy now, you and Guardian Life, it's a nation we're building. Many hearts, but we all want the same thing. Live secure and live easy.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we're going to take a look at the newspapers, at least the headlines, to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, Ambert alert, jam COVID under more scrutiny as second data breach is flagged. Wow. And then, Maroon Chief, it's back as at quasi-sovereign labor. And we see also that teachers are in line for the first job. In the Observer, government urged to strengthen checks as second jam COVID security lapse is reported. And we also see in the Observer that doctors clash. Mandeville Regional Hospital SMO denies interns' claims, but consultant physicians say he is talking rubbish. Wow. Well, coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question. What are your thoughts on the possibility of a shutdown of Jamaica with a work-from-home mandate? Leave a comment on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Have some issues and concerns in your community that you wish could be attended to now? Want a platform to voice those concerns? This could be the place for you. Send your 30-second voice notes describing your issue to 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Be sure to type a voice for hope before sending the voice note. Then listen on Tuesday at 9:45 a.m. for a voice for hope. Share the concerns you have seen. You know that street light that has not been working for a long time, or your community has not had water for 2 weeks now? Yes, here's somewhere you can share it. And maybe, just maybe, we can get some love on your situation. Remember now, send a 30-second voice note describing your issue and type a voice for hope before sending your voice note to 876-997-3125. A voice for hope. It's a problem, and we need a solution now. Love 101 FM, the family station, bringing a voice to your situation.
This week inside the Rock, host Steve Blair and guests Pastor Dion Lindo and Roland Gale will discuss the topic integrity, a Christian staple. The laws are clear. We know when we break them. But do we as Christians know when our integrity is being compromised? Do Christians struggle with our conscience? Do we heed the right and wrong voices in our heads? And what does the Bible teach about having integrity? Join in on the discussion inside The Rock, Tuesday, February 23 at 10:30 a.m. on the family station, Love 101. All other ground is sinking sand. Worldly pleasure, all forsaken.
We are in the season of Lent, and Love 101 is encouraging you to start or continue practicing habits that will bring you closer to God. Let us grow our prayer life to higher heights and deeper depths in God. Prayer simply means talking to God, but there's more. Don't forget to listen to Him as well. God is always ready to hear from His children. Get into your quiet, secret place daily. Listen to God speak to you and watch what happens when you pause, pray, praise, and press your way through. See what God has in store for you as you go through the season of Lent.
Here is a reminder from Love 101, the family station, as we face the COVID-19 pandemic. Masks are effective only when used in combination with frequent hand cleaning with soap and water or alcohol-based solutions. Wear a mask that is lined with 2 or more layers. When taking it off, ensure you dispose of it properly. I'm Nigel Wilkinson from Love 101, reminding you to protect yourself while protecting others. Stay safe and keep it locked on Love 101, the family station.
Welcome back. You're tuned in to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's join Shivani for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question, which is, what are your thoughts on the possibility of a shutdown of Jamaica with a work from home mandate? Shivani.
All right, I'll share with you a comment here, then I'll share some with the in regards to the main watch. This one says, "Don't do it; it will destroy the already fragile economy of Jamaica. If you are someone who is immunocompromised, then stay home. If not, practice good personal hygiene, wear a mask, drink lots of clean water, eat healthy, exercise, and if you get sick, then stay home." Let me jump to the main watch now. This one says the real spread is the same people in the country. They're not wearing their masks, no social distancing, and they don't care about the next person or their family. This one says, "Boy, we're between a rock and a hard place. Either way, you take it there, will be the same fallout. Some people going to feel it more than others. And we can say anything, but the reality is most of us don't have the kind of info those in charge have to make such a decision. We talk all we want, so I just hope they consider the numbers and consequences clearly." This one says the shutdown in Jamaica is going to be very hard, especially to the poor and small businesses. If the government don't help them financially, it will be worries. Keep the conversation going, folks.
A mouthful there,
I tell you.
Thank you. Thanks to those who responded. Well, as we go into the second watch, listeners, the vaccination rollout is expected this month. Are we ready? Who is on board? The church is arguably one of the largest institutions in the country with the greatest and most effective reach to speak, especially to those who are skeptical about the vaccine. Enlisting the work and support of the church would be a move that could prove most beneficial if the country is to achieve what is known as herd immunity. So, what's the holdup? What are the challenges and the complications? What are the conspiracies floating around? Well, to discuss these and other questions, we have online Reverend Newton Dixon, President of the Jamaica Council of Churches, and Bishop Jeremy McGregor of the Grace Apostolic Deliverance Tabernacle, and he's also a guidance counselor. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Brother Dylan. Morning, Bishop.
Bless you, sir. Morning.
Good to have you both with us. Well, what in your view could or should be the role of the church in the upcoming vaccination campaign? Beginning with you, Reverend Dixon.
Thank you very much, Brother Dylan, and
yes,
morning Jamaica. I think there are basically two things the church could and probably should be doing with respect to the vaccination program. One is the general information dissemination. I think it is always important to disseminate correct information. And I'm not at this moment taking a position one way or the other, except to say that in the world where we have come to accept this notion of alternative facts and conspiracy theories having validity, it is important that the church assists in promulgating the correct information. The second thing I think the church should do is, if and when a vaccination plan is being put in effect, the church should be protecting or speaking in the interest of those who may be vulnerable and marginal and need the protection and care of a voice, someone who will speak for them in their interest, to make sure that those persons are not ignored or left out or pushed aside, if they are persons who ought to be given priority. So I think, one, the issue of dissemination of correct information, and two, the issue of advocacy.
Say more about the vulnerable individuals, please, Reverend Dixon. Who would come on that?
We've had some unpleasant experiences over the last few weeks, which have reminded us that there are persons among us who are easily overlooked. The homeless, for example, and the issues with their problems and so on. And the fact that they might be persons who are exposed to a certain level of they might be at a certain level of exposure where the virus is concerned, where the accessibility to vaccine is concerned. That may be the issue that we need to address. Maybe with persons like homeless, maybe with some persons in the elderly groups who are probably not don't have the same kind of access or priority in the scheme of things. So it is really something we should sit down and think about, reflect on, and then think whether or not we should be taking some action or speaking about it.
Well said. Bishop McGregor, your take on that? What should be the role of the church?
My take on that, where the role of the church is concerned, is that the truth on the vaccine, meaning that the information that surrounds it, the pros and the cons, and also the makeup factor of it, because there are a lot of notions going around in terms of the vaccine, and persons are apprehensive. So the church will also need to be an advocate for people, for their members, and also for the country at large. Another point is that we have to ensure that if everything works out, if all is well, the truth about it, the validity, and we know everything basically, then one of the greatest things is to convince the nation that it is safe to take. I think the church now is to convince, and that's what the church will have to know how to do, is to convince the nation, the members, of taking the vaccine. Because
hold that, Bishop, could you hold that thought, please? We'll take a break and be right back.
Go ahead, sir.
You're tuned to Love 101, the family station's now 7:45.
Shake it and spell it with love this Valentine's from Digicel. Download the My Digicel app and shake to collect the letters LOVE to win cash and other amazing prizes, including an exquisite diamond ring, a weekend getaway at a luxury resort, dinners for two, plus free data and credit for you and your boo. Get to shaking and spelling in the My Digicel app today. Offer ends February 27. Digicel, better together.
Your body is the only place you have to live. Take care of it by giving it the nutrients it needs to stay healthy. Staying healthy helps you to perform at your very best. At Maranatha Health Food Stores, we understand this. That's why we have natural and organic supplements for detoxing, disease prevention, weight management, and so much more. Call us today, Maranatha Health Food Stores, 876-779-6759 or 876-669-5685.
Bills to pay and funds to transfer? No problem. I do it all on my time with JN Bank Live Online Banking. It's my simple and secure as that online banking.
Phone credit need a top up? No problem. I do it with JN Bank Live Online Banking.
It's quick and easy with just a few clicks. JN Bank Live, online banking that goes where you go. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank will help you find a way.
I know, woman. She gets out of bed even when she doesn't feel like it. She works long hours and rarely gets a break. She gives of herself every single day and has a very important job.
Here you go, sweetie. Do you need anything else?
But this woman is not only a nurse, she is also my mom. And Malta helps her care for herself so she can look after everybody else. And me too. Thanks, Mommy. Thanks, Malta.
Malta, you're full of life.
Colgate Triple Action. 3 benefits for a deep clean. As a mother, you always want to give the best to your family and to make them happy. With Colgate Triple Action, you give them 3 reasons to smile. Cavity protection, whiter teeth, and fresh breath. A unique formula with a minty flavor they will love. Colgate Triple Action. Find it at your favorite store.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are discussing the role of the church in the vaccination campaign, conspiracies, concerns, as well as complications. And we have online the president of the Jamaica Council of Churches, Reverend Newton Dixon, and Bishop Jeremy McGregor of the Grace Apostolic Deliverance Tabernacle. Bishop McGregor, before the break, you were telling us of your views in regards to the role of the church.
Yes, as I was saying that we'll have to, based on the information on the vaccine, everything about it, pros, cons, disadvantages, advantages, we have to convince the people to take it, and that's a problem because another thing is that the COVID virus is real. It is here and it is real. And we have to do something. We have to put something in place. However, there are persons that are apprehensive about taking it. In other words, no. Persons have great concern, such as, is it here to kill us? Is it here to cut down the human race in terms of stopping procreation? Is it a conspiracy with leaders from worldwide? Mm-hmm. All of these things, the man on the road thinking that, hey, I want to do to cut down our sexuality. I want to do to cut down even our food in terms of appetite. Everything around us, so we socialize or we interact. So there are basic questions that we need everything on this vaccine. In other words, to give people hope and to give people a sense of living, basically. So we, the church, have to be an advocate for the people and a voice. And most of all, which is extremely important, we have to be a listening ear.
Reverend Dixon, what are you hearing out there in regards to the apprehension?
I agree with Bishop McGregor. There are a lot of conspiracy theories. Well, let me not label them conspiracy theories. There are a lot of suspicions.
You don't want to label them?
No. I don't
anyway, go ahead.
A lot of apprehensions is the word you use. A lot of suspicions about the motivations for the vaccine and the intentions that it is being put to. But he made a very important point which I want to underscore, which is outside of the vaccine we have a serious pandemic which is dangerous to the point where it has taken in the United States 500,000 lives, for which there was a period of mourning last night, and here
300 and odd persons have died, I think. So far, yes. So what we're really dealing with is not just a bogus idea of a sickness that is passing around. There's a real problem, a real threat to our health.
Rev, how we deal with these apprehensions, these theories, these views? Some people are saying it's the mark of the beast. Some are saying it's going to affect our genetic makeup. How we deal with these things? You're talking about dissemination of information. How does the church respond to that to get persons to be on board?
Listen, I was talking to a few of my colleagues from the Jamaica Pentecostal Union because I serve there as PRO. Yeah. And one of the things that I spoke to them about is that we, the church leaders, we have to put in a counseling system in place where persons can come and vent, and not only vent, but also where we can give information, something written, and also to read, because we would have people in our society that are unable to read. So counselors must be able to read and explain to them. So that type of system must be in place in order for us to tell our people. Because, sir, guess what? All of us as church leaders are affected by the COVID-19, one way or the other. Our ministries are affected in a negative way. The only thing may be good about is that social medias are open up for the churches. So therefore, people are logging on more to the gospel. But the everyday running of the church is affected negatively.
Bishop, what you say to the persons though when they say it is the mark of the beast? It's part of what is prophesied in Revelation. What you say to them directly?
Well, we have to use scriptures and end time prophecies to clarify it. And you can't be upset with them thinking about it because it's a fear factor. So that's why we are there now with the truth of the vaccine to alleviate the fears. Because in fact, in truth, they are really fearful. So we know as leaders, pastors, whatever role we play, teachers, we just have to use the word of God and end time prophecies and signs and wonders and help them to alleviate some of the fears. And it will take a while for some person. It will take a while, but constant educating, constant involvement in the lives of our people will help to
okay. Reverend Dixon, what do we say to them in regards to the mark of the beast?
I concur with the Bishop. I think though there are two things we should do. One is we should make sure that we have accurate scientific information to share with our parishioners. And I think having dialogue and conversation with epidemiological experts, even not necessarily the high level ones who are so busy, but there are doctors around us in all of our churches. Yeah, we can talk with us. We can reach out to. And
sorry, Bishop. Sorry, Reverend Dixon. There are doctors and educated persons among us who also have strong apprehensions about the vaccine.
Yes, and I think that is a good conversation to have. Pastors need to sit down with all these persons and hear the conversation, participate in that conversation. I think, for example, that there are more doctors who are not apprehensive than there are those who are. But I think that conversation must take place in the local churches. And the second thing is
that's true. I believe that too, because I've been listening over the past weekend a lot of programs going on, and most doctors, in fact, all the programs I've listened to when it comes on to the medical doctors, everybody is saying, go ahead, let's try it because the pandemic and lives are being lost. People are losing their own everyday resources, their way of life. So go ahead. I mean, yesterday I heard the Prime Minister mention on a program that the vaccine is safe, and I also heard a doctor Saturday saying the vaccine is safe. We should go ahead and take the vaccine. And other programs I hear that too.
But they're saying that 60 to 70% of the nation so far is not on board. They're not believing it. They're not buying into the argument.
It's a psychological thing too. But I believe constant, as Brother Newton said a while ago, constant education. constant motivating. It after a while, sir, I believe the country will buy into it. If we learn everything about the vaccine, scientific stuff have been proven, and there's a decrease in terms of the virus. Afterwards, person will get on stream. Just a matter of time.
Reverend Dixon, what are your concerns? And I'll throw to Bishop McGregor after. What are your concerns regards to the vaccine themselves and their proposed distribution in Jamaica? Any concerns there?
I would say there's only one, and I probably will have to engage this question with the authorities. The 16% benchmark is, we all understand the significant percent marker, which is what I think is being projected nation we will be implementing. And so I think what we will need to do is to have that conversation, to hear from our leaders, what it is that is significant.
Reverend Dixon? Reverend Dixon?
Yes. Yes.
I'm hearing some distortions in the line. I don't know what's happening.
There's some interruption with this.
Yes, when you speak, the distortions. Try again. Let's see if we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, go, Reverend Dixon.
Right. I was saying that my only concern, and this is personal for me, is the significance of the 16%.
Okay. Bishop McGregor, any concern in regards to the vaccine themselves and the proposed distribution?
My concern would have been the proposed distribution. I have been in the media and I heard now that teachers, educational persons are now on the first set of persons that should get it. And that was my biggest concern. Where do we fall as teachers, and also the most vulnerable among us, the persons who are on the street side, the children's home, the persons who work constantly in the homes of adult care. Those were my areas of concern. Where do these persons fall? But I am of the view now, and I'm hopeful, hearing it yesterday, that these persons will be covered first in line to get these vaccines. So I feel much better. In terms of the vaccine itself, I just want to ensure, which I stand in agreement with Pastor Newton, is that we need all the information we have on the vaccine. We need it. We need it because it will help to alleviate fear, apprehension, and it will clear up all the misconception and whatever other thoughts or ideas we need it so that we can move free. Because at the end of the day, the COVID is here.
Okay. Right. So we have to leave it there, gentlemen. Time is up on us. Want to thank you both for joining us. Have a productive day, gentlemen.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. I am Dylan Toussaint, reminding you to be purposeful, faithful, thankful, and watchful as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Siobhan Blair.
Delicious mackerel, tasty tuna, rich in protein and healthy fats with omega-3 from Grace. Better choices, better life.
The time brought to you by Grace Kennedy is
8 o'clock, folks. It's time for the program Fought in Faith, brought to you by the Portmore New Testament Church of God.
The Lord will return to